Perfect. So I sent you yesterday the PDF for today, which is about the spine and the neutral spine. So you're going to see around maybe a dog that's Cocky, and Christina.
Yeah. Good morning.
She will be showing the class today, and I will be basically guiding it. Okay, so I hope everybody can hear me and is well connected. Great. Then we're going to start. So today it's about neutral spine. What is neutral spine? It's the same as neutral posture. So it is when all the bones and vertebrae are stacked on top of each other in the way that we are. So in this triple S that we showed at some point that we talked about in the very first class. And it's basically for a purpose. So we have this triple S, these curves in the spine that are the natural curves. And they are for the purpose of stability and at the same time mobility. So the spine is basically, it's great. So whoever did this did a great job doing that. And it's about, so when we have this triple S, we have a force distribution. So when you apply a force from the top, like gravity, it distributes in a very perfect and balanced way when we are in neutral. And basically, when all the curves are in place and vertical, we have then the most stable spine, and the muscles can fire to have this spine in a neutral way and in the best balance as possible. So what will happen if you get a neutral spine is that you're going to have decreased pain and improvement performance. So good posture, it's not only about, oh, I have pain here, or here, it's because I have like my shoulders rounded, but it's also about improving performance. So maybe you're gonna get better at walking or running if you do other stuff, or weightlifting. So it's all about all these benefits that we get when having neutral posture. In the spine, you probably have heard of the cervical spine, the thoracic spine, and the lumbar spine. I hope this is clear as well from the picture. Cervical spine, thoracic spine, the thorax is basically the rib cage, and the lumbar spine, which most of the people know about because every now and then we might have some troubles there. So the cervical spine, when we move the head or the cervical spine, is when we are going to have where we're going to affect more the blood supply in the brain. Why? Because we have here that in the bottom left corner, we have this picture that I showed you as well last week, where we have the main two blood arteries that are running in our neck. So whatever we do in our neck, it's really going to affect in the blood supply in the brain. There are the two main arteries that bring basically the blood to the brain. Okay, people are still joining around. And it's the most mobile area in the spine. It makes sense, right? So with the head, we can basically do almost all the rotation, extension, flexion. We can do a lot of things, and that's great. We need that. And we have the most amount of flexion. So flexion is when we bend the head forward. The most amount of flexion is in C5. This is also, so when we have an area in the spine that it's very mobile, it's also an area that it's prone to more injuries or more pain or any issue. So C5 is usually where we have the neck forward. So it's where really the neck goes forward and we have this text neck that we talked about last week. In the thoracic spine, we have very little degree of extension. What does this mean? So extension is when you bring your back behind. So when you do a back bend, the thoracic spine will probably stay at the same place. We don't have that amount of extension. So when we usually bend in a back bend, it's probably from the lumbar spine. And this is when sometimes back bends or bridge pose and all these poses might not feel super, super good. Because you might have like some pain in the lumbar spine, or sometimes we bend from the neck. You see some back bends and it's basically all looking up. So the thoracic spine has a very little degree of extension. The reason why is when we have the vertebrae like this, they are done, so they are the second vertebra that you see in the picture in the bottom right. These are the thoracic vertebrae, and when they are like this and we extend the back, they're going to hit each other. So it's basically anatomically, you cannot bend, you cannot extend the thoracic spine because the vertebrae are going to hit. What happens with the cervical spine is that the vertebrae are thinner and smaller, and they have more degree of extension and flexion. And what the thoracic spine gives us, and that's very good, it's rotation. So rotation, you're going to see maybe old people that when they rotate, they really have to stand up and turn around and really then see what you're talking to them or whatever they want to see. So one of the first movements that we lose as we grow is the rotation in the thoracic spine. So therefore, do your active rotation and really practice. Don't lose this movement. It's very important, and we want to keep that for sure. And for example, rotation is sometimes when we are doing twists in the class, I'm going to say rotate from your thoracic spine, not from the lumbar spine. So I'm going to show you how this looks like. So when you are here in a twist, I'll do the other way. When you are in a twist and you rotate from your lumbar spine, it's going to look like this. So the pelvis will tilt and you keep rotating. And then you're going to have, oh, that's a great range of motion, but you're basically rotating from the pelvis and from your lumbar spine. How does this look when we have rotation in the thoracic spine? It looks basically smaller. So you're going to rotate from the rib cage. So today we're going to go some twists as far as I think. Yeah, so try to rotate from your thoracic spine. The lumbar spine is basically for weight bearing. So it's more or less at the middle of our body, and it's basically carrying all the weight from the head towards the middle of the body. So the vertebrae are quite thick. You can see them at the bottom right corner. They are quite thick and they are for weight bearing. They do not have much for rotation, so they are not built for that. This is what I just showed. And we have to really take care of the lumbar spine and give stability. How can we do that? Core work. So the core, it's not only the abs. The abs are fine. You can have an 8-pack, 6-pack, I don't care. What we really need to work on is the deep core muscles. So the deep core muscles are the ones under the 6-pack. The ones that you don't see, and you're probably not going to see. And they are all the way connected everywhere. So there are the obliques, the internal obliques. We have external obliques as well for the 6-pack or whatever you want to show. The pelvic floor muscle is also included in the core. And basically everything except your legs and your arms is considered the core. Even your neck can affect the core. So when we have forward neck, it's going to affect your core. We check that in the triple S on the wall. When you really bring your head back, you feel a slight engagement in your belly. So this also affects the core, of course. And to give support to your spine, you have to work these muscles. We do that in every class. You have been doing this in every class already, doing this core work that we do at the beginning on the floor. This is a non-negotiable for me. So in every class you attend, we're going to have some core work, or ab work, let's call it. Then the neutral spine, one of the things that can affect your neutral posture is fascia. We have the thoracodorsal fascia, that it's basically here, so more or less starting from the glutes up all the way towards your dorsal spine, so upper in the thorax. And it's basically when we have a lot of fascia, it's an area of energy exchange. So there will be a lot happening in there. What we're going to try as well in this class is to basically try to pull apart and try to stretch a little bit of that fascia. This can also affect, of course, your forward folds. So if you feel like you have a very tight hamstrings, it can also be that it's really pulling from this fascia that we have at the back. And yeah, so here I also wrote headstand, repeated forward folds, and exaggerated back bends. They are not going to be in my classes. I always look at asanas in terms of benefit and cost. So what happens if we do repeated forward folds all the time, and especially when we don't bend the knees, this is going to pull a lot of your hamstrings. I don't know if you have ever heard of yoga butt. It's not the nice butt that gets when you do yoga, which you might get. It's an injury that it's called yoga butt, because basically we're all the time folding forward with the knees locked, and then we're basically pulling in the hamstrings. So if you ever had hamstring pain, it might be because you are basically pulling and pulling and pulling in those hamstrings, especially in the hamstring insertion, which is in the butt. And this is what can be very painful and can take very long to heal. So this is why I recommend bend slightly your knees, engage your legs while you're forward folding. So when I mean repeated forward folds, I mean this kind of forward folds like with your knees locked. If you bend your knees, you can do as many forward folds as you want. Headstand, it's basically an anatomical thing. I think I already talked about it last week. The vertebrae in the neck are quite tiny, quite small compared to the other ones. They are not done, they are not built for weight bearing. The lumbar spine is the ones that are thick and we can bear weight on it. And basically, if you see in the picture, we have a small, so if you look at the cervical spine vertebra, there's a hole. This is where the spinal cord goes through. And then we have two tiny holes where the blood arteries go through. So if you put weight in there and you don't control it, it can be harmful. And then finally, exaggerated back bend. So the rule of thumb that we have is not to exaggerate any of these curves that we have. We don't want to lessen them, so we don't want to make them smaller. We don't want to make them bigger. We just want to keep them while we're moving. We want to maintain them while we are in motion. So I think, yeah, just one last thing. So sometimes if we do repeated suboptimal movements, so if you're really not supporting your spine with your muscles, it can debilitate the connection between the vertebral discs. So the vertebral discs are basically the discs that we have between the vertebrae, and they're kind of cushions. And they are very, very robust. But of course, if you have a practice of 10 years and you have been doing the same thing repeatedly, and it is not optimal, yeah, so it might have some impact. I must say as well that some people have some issues in the discs and they have no pain. So sometimes it depends on your practice in your own body and yeah, everything you do besides yoga. So if you do yoga for 1 hour a day, but you don't do anything else, you're sitting on a chair, we might have some impact in there. This was all about the spine. We're gonna get a little bit active now. Before, I would like to know how many of you have a desk job. So raise your hand or give me a sign. Desk job. Me too. Okay. Yeah, so for the ones that I don't see, I guess, might be the case as well. Yeah, okay. What happens when we have a desk job? We sit. I'm going to try, I don't have a chair, but I will try to do it here. What happens when we sit on a chair? So we're basically in this position. Imagine that I'm a bit higher, and then we are here, and we might be like that, maybe not, depends on you. The head can be forward or not. So when we stand, what is going to happen? That since we have been sitting, this tissue here might be shortened, so it might be okay, a bit short because we have been sitting all the time, right? So the tissues, why would I lengthen if you are sitting 23 hours a day? So then when you stand up, you're gonna have this tissue here. This is what happened. It will have an impact in your lower back. It will have an impact in your core. Your belly won't have the energy that it should have because it has not been engaged. The ribs will pop forward because what you're trying to do is walk. So you're gonna look forward, ribs are gonna pop out, and then the neck, well, it will probably try to balance in there. So this is basically the effect that we can have while sitting for a long time. It is not the 1 hour of yoga that is going to save you from this. You have to move, you have to do different things, you have to move as much as you can. I cannot promise you're going to have super great posture after these 5 weeks. It's not going to be like that. I'm very sorry if these were your expectations. My goal here is that you become aware of where you are, and that you become aware of where you want to go and how you're sitting. And maybe one day you see a picture of yourself and you see, oh, okay, I can see what's happening. I might know how to correct that. And what happens as well, very important, when we sit a lot, the glutes are not working. The glutes are the big muscle of our body. They give us stability. They help us to walk, to do everything, to sit, wherever, everything. And when we sit for a long time, maybe you're realizing this now, depending on how you're sitting, your glutes are basically sleeping, kind of. And when we do this 24 hours a day, we're going to lose stability in the glutes and in the pelvis especially, which is the big bone at the hips. So we're going to try to strengthen that. Be aware that if you feel, for example, that one muscle, like the hamstrings or the glutes, you feel like they are tight, it may be that they are weak. So if you feel that something is tight and you have been stretching it for a long time and you don't see any improvement, try to strengthen it. Try to do some work in strengthening it. Maybe you see, okay, my hamstrings are tight. Instead of doing forward folds, try something different. You have been trying this for months and it did not get any better. Then try to strengthen, because it might be that instead of tight, they are weak. Okay, now we're going to get into tips and tricks for practical exercises. So when you're sitting, some things that you could do. For example, the first one is the thoracic spine extensions. Thoracic spine, I said as well that we cannot extend the thoracic spine, I know, but that's the intention that we're trying to do this. So you place your hands behind your head and you try to extend the thoracic spine, not the cervical spine. So the cervical spine would look like this. We try to extend the thoracic spine, keeping the belly in and the ribs closed. Yes. The elbows can stay closed or open, you decide. You can try both, it might feel different as well. This you can do sitting or on the sofa or whatever. And then you can come up and then maybe come down, maybe some cat-cow motion, so to say. Another exercise that we can do to come up into this neutral spine is the occipital release. So the occiput is basically the bone that we have at the base of the spine. It's kind of, you're going to feel it because it's quite easy to find when you put your thumbs in there. And you can interlace your fingers behind your head. Try to massage that and then maybe bring the chin down. Press the head against the hand. And then maybe you can try to massage that area, which is going to get a bit tighter when you do this action of pressing the head against the hand. You're going to feel some more tightening in there. And then you can look to one side and then the other. Or maybe stay if you find some sticky spot in there. Always the head against the hand. Belly is also quite supporting you in here. Very nice neck relief. Another exercise that we can do while we are sitting is rib cage breathing. Hands on your ribs, and try to find that the ribs, when you inhale, they don't only go to the sides or forward. Try that they go everywhere so that they expand like a balloon. So you can try to breathe that. Expanding everything. And with your hands, you can also help to bring everything together. So that's an easy one. I hope you can feel this expansion. The more you practice it, the more expansive it will get. Another thing we can do, if you're at home doing this, it might be easier than if you're in the office, but I guess everybody's more or less working from home, is standing. Basically, if we have a chair, look at this. We're gonna do some Sitting and standing. So it's basically you're sitting. Yeah, you can do it. Sitting and then standing. But activating really the glutes. Exactly. And you don't have to go far away. So it's basically you stand and you sit. You stand and you sit. This is going to make you activate some muscles like the glutes and do it intentionally. So if you just stand up and just do nothing and don't think about it, it's not going to have as much of an effect if we are really thinking about it. Upper rotations. So if we have hands on the shoulders, and we're going to do thoracic rotation. So you turn to one side and the other. You can keep the head looking to your screen or to the front. And then you basically rotate, keeping the belly in to keep the lumbar spine stable. So we're not rotating in the lumbar spine. We're rotating at the rib cage. We're not rotating at the head or at the shoulders. We're really doing it together. So the rib cage is the guiding ones. Good. Scapula depression and shoulder rolls. Shoulder rolls, we always have it in these classes. And they are rotating. So basically rolling the shoulders back. This is a very nice thing I like to do every single day. And then we have scapula depression, which are kind of these dips that you might know. So if you have a chair or something, you basically depress the shoulders and pull them back, up and down. So this you can, maybe you do it with the sofa or a chair. This is also very good for your shoulder strength. You can try that. I'll give you like 2 minutes if you want. And then we'll have finally the happy squat. Don't bend the elbows, just the shoulders, up and down. So try to press against the chair. Yeah, and then lower. Shoulders to your ears. Yes, there you go. And then press against, yes. So the elbows stay slightly straight, so you can slightly bend them, just not to lock them. But it's basically only the shoulders. So it's like if you were saying, I don't know, up and down. Okay. And then happy squat with your butt on your chair, so you can sit on the chair. And then you basically bend forward. There we go. Yes, you can relax your neck, your spine. This feels very nice depending on the chair you have. This also feels nice if you don't have a chair and you want to do it just like that. It's without the chair. You sit back as if you had the chair. Okay. So we're done with these practical exercises. Is there any question or anything, any remark, anything you would like to know before we start moving really into the class? Any questions about the spine, neutral spine? Yes? No?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
About the headstand, actually.
Yeah.
Because I often practice Iyengar yoga, and their headstand is really important. And my teacher is always teaching us that we should only do the headstand if we are able to pull up from the shoulders, and if basically the head could be kind of be lifted from the floor. And do you think in that case then it's safe because you're not really putting any weight on the spine near the head?
That's the thing about the benefit cost. So for me, the headstand cost doesn't come to any benefit if you can practice other inversions. So the benefit of a headstand is basically the inversion, right? This is why we practice it. And I think you can get this benefit with any other inversions, like forearm stand or handstand. Or if you have a feet up, you can also get inverted. Even a downward facing dog is an inversion already. I think that the risk of doing a headstand, it's not worth for me. And this is why I don't teach it, basically. I don't think it is worth for the 90% of the population. If you have been practicing this for several years and you're already super confident, and then there you go. It's not something that I would teach because of this. And if you are able to keep like zero weight on your head, you may already want to go into a forearm stand, right? So if you can really hold that, then if you can do a forearm stand and a handstand, then I think you're safe with your headstand. So we actually first learn the headstand, and I think we should first learn the forearm stand and the handstand before we go into a headstand, because that's actually the most dangerous one, so to say. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Quick question. I know you were talking about the head massage behind. Is there a way you can just show on someone like the back of the head where you meant?
Yes.
I will just sit here. Maybe you repeat the question for the others.
Yeah. So for those who have maybe not heard the question, it is, So the area where we want to give a massage is the suboccipital area. This means that you will find the bone here. Where is it? Yeah, the bone. Yeah. You will first come up here. There's the bone. And then if you go a bit lower, you're going to find some area that it's a bit more tender, that it's not bone. And it's basically the suboccipital area. So the occiput is the base of the skull, the bone, so to say. And then if you go a bit lower, you're going to find the massage. But you cannot go like wrong in here. If you massage the whole part here, it's going to feel nice. You're going to have some spots. It depends on you as well, which areas feel nicer. Yeah, did you find it now? Yeah, great. Woo! Okay, any other question? Yeah, Alexandra, you have to unmute. Okay, I'm mute. Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much for doing this workshop. It's really great.
Thank you.
Secondly, I'm with you in the sense that, not teaching the headstand because it's quite dangerous. However, I want to ask you, do you teach backbends? Because I also feel coming up, if you come up safely on a backbend, which basically first you come up on the crown of your head and then you push with all your limbs, this can put a lot of stress on the neck, which is basically the same nerves you are describing. So I want to ask you, as a yogi and as a teacher, if you are teaching backbends or if you are specifically avoiding them, and if you teach them, how you teach them.
That's a very good question. So, yeah, I think you might be talking about the bridge, well, basically the wheel. How I teach the wheel, I teach it, and how I do it, it's basically from a low bridge. So if you start in a low bridge, I will show you. If you start in a low bridge, from here you have your head on the floor, and then you basically first engage your glutes, come up, then place the hands here. So now basically my weight is on my upper back, my head, yes, but I'm basically still in a low bridge. And then what I do from here is push and lift. So for me, there's no step in between in placing your head down on the floor. Other back bends, I do not 100% teach them. I don't know if I can think of any exaggerated, so as I said, exaggerated back bends. I don't teach that because 90% of the population, it will go into the lower back. It will basically crunch, or the head, yeah. You can see that in many pictures of people. You can see a hinge in the lower back when they go into a wheel. And you think, oh, it looks beautiful. Yeah, it looks beautiful. But if you look at it from an anatomical point of view, the vertebrae in the lumbar spine are basically, they have no support. So it's very important in any back bend you do to bring your belly towards the lower back to protect it. I teach somehow like back bendy feelings, let's say. So basically when you are in a low lunge and I told you like to back bend behind, we're basically going to keep the belly in, engage the glutes, this for sure, and then maybe come up here. So the ribs are still controlled and everything is controlled. You have this back bendy feeling, but it's not going to be exaggerated. And all the time from a place of control, glutes always engaging, this for sure. Then I think we can start to move, right?
Yes.
Or we can just keep chatting here. Okay. Then we're gonna start laying on the mat. Thank you. Your knees are bent. And then you can close your eyes. Take a few breaths here. Maybe you can try to find this 4-dimensional breath, expanding the ribs and the belly as well. Coming in the here and now. And maybe forgetting everything that I said and just start this class with a beginner's mind. Trying to explore everything. Also keeping an open mind. Take one last deep breath here. Through the nose or through the mouth. You decide. And exhale. And then make sure that your feet are more or less underneath your knees. Place your hands on your thighs. Tilt your pelvis towards, so the tailbone towards your heels. And then press your hands against your thighs and push your thighs away. And when you push the thighs away, lift into a low bridge. So lifting the hips up. Really making some kind of posterior tilt of the pelvis. So the tailbone is going to move towards the knees. This is going to open the front of your hips. If you have any pain in your knees, you can walk your feet farther away. Take a few breaths here. Squeeze your glutes so they are now working. Your lower back is long. This is very important here. And your belly goes in. Stay with your legs as you are. Extend your arms towards the sky as if you were holding a tray full of food. So you're holding a tray. Wrists are flexed. There you go. And then grab your left fingers with your right hand and pull them towards you. So you're stretching the forearm. Yes. Keep breathing here. You decide how much pressure you want to apply. If you want to take this more into the shoulders, you can bring your arms first towards the ceiling. So try to really protract the shoulders and then bring them over your head. So you grab them, you pull them towards the ceiling, and then you bring them over the head. This is going to clear up the shoulder for you. You might have some object in there, some sofa or anything. Take a big breath in. Watch out for your ribs. They are not really popping. They are really contained. Glutes are active. And then you can switch the hands where you are or bring them back to the ceiling and start the same sequence again. Very nice. One more breath. Release the hands and then tiptoe your spine all the way down towards the floor. We're going to start the core work. Extend your legs towards the ceiling. Bring your hands behind your head. Close the elbows, so the elbows will always stay together. Interlace your fingers behind your head. And make a cup for your skull. So your head will always be relying in the hands. And then take a big inhale. Your knees can be slightly bent if you cannot fully straight the legs up. And if that's too hard, you can always keep your feet on the floor. Take a big inhale when you're down. And on the exhale, come up and bring your belly in. Look at the belly and try to bring it down towards the floor. The sacrum is still on the floor as well. Pressing, pressing, pressing. Watch out for your neck. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, lower down. Oh dear, something popped up here. One more time like this. Inhale when you're down. Exhale, come up. And then lower down, release. We're gonna add on to this. Inhale when you're down on the floor, elbows are closed. Exhale, come up. And then your left leg will move away, halfway towards the floor. Yeah, here, no more, yeah. So just some degrees without changing your lower back. Hold here, hold, 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 belly goes in. Bring your legs together again. Inhale and lower down. Exhale, come up. Elbows are closed. Right leg moves away from you. Hold, hold, hold. So maybe it stays super near, or maybe it goes farther away. You decide. Bring it back together. And then inhale and lower. We're going to add a twist on this. Exhale, come up. Left leg moves away. Turn with your upper body towards the left a little bit, just maybe 3 centimeters. Left leg is away, turning the upper body towards the left a little bit. Come back to center. Both of your legs come back together. Inhale and lower. Exhale, come up. Right leg moves away. Maybe you turn a little bit towards the right. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Come back to center. Legs together. Inhale and lower. Last round, 1 each leg. Inhale, come up, squeeze the belly in, ribs are in, left leg moves away, turn a little bit towards the left with the upper body, squeeze, 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 the obliques are working, come back to center, both legs together, inhale and lower, last one, exhale, come up, you're all doing great, turn a little bit, first right leg moves away, turn a little bit towards the right, hold it here, turn back to center, both of your legs together. Inhale and lower. Release the legs. Feet on the floor. Take a big breath in. Exhale out. So I hope you can feel the warmth that you have created. We're going to move. Oh dear. We're going to move into a tabletop position. And we'll move directly into a dolphin pose with this energy that we created. So you go down on your forearms. You can interlace your hands if you want. If you know that your shoulders are quite open, then just keep them parallel, forearms parallel on the floor. From here, release your neck first. And then make a cat position with your upper back. So your shoulders will round. The upper back will round. There we go. The belly will go in. Tuck the toes and then lift your knees away from the floor. Lifting the hips up, up, up. So you can walk with your feet towards your hands, keeping your knees bent. So your knees are always slightly bent, your heels are lifted. And then if you feel that you can handle a bit more, you can walk your feet even nearer to your forearms. Make sure your forearms don't splay out, so they are really hugging in together. Neck is relaxed, not touching the floor. Push the forearms against the floor. You're going to have more space for your head. One last breath here, belly pulling in. The peak of this pose is the hips. And then exhale, lower your knees down and take a child's pose if you want, or just stand up in a seated position and take 2 deep breaths. And then we're going to stand up and start to move with sun salutations. Come to the front of your mat. Feet are parallel. Take a big inhale. Bring your arms forward. Okay, I'm gonna wait for some seconds still that everybody's set up. Okay, big breath in. Inhale, bring your arms forward and up. Exhale, bend from the hips, fold forward. Hands land, and then step your right foot back and lower the right knee, but not your toes. So your toes stay tucked. And then come up into a 90-90 degree lunge. 90-90. So your right hip is right on top of your right knee. Arms go up. Inhale. Belly goes in, ribs are in. Great, yes. Inhale here. Exhale, hands land, high plank. Lower the knees and lower down in one piece towards the floor. So first the knees, and then you engage your glutes, your belly, and then you lower down. Pull the hands back for cobra, so you're opening the chest. Watch out for your chin, so it stays neutral. Belly goes in. And then exhale, downward facing dog. It is the first one, so feel free, observe what's happening here. You can lift your heels, bend your knees, take a big breath in. And then we'll step the right foot between the hands, come into a 90-90 lunge. So your back knee will go down, the toes can stay tucked. Inhale, arms up, belly's in. And exhale, hands land, forward fold at the front of your mat. Step your back foot next to the front one. Bend your knees here. Inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. And then we'll continue to flow, fold forward, bending at the knees. This time, step the left foot back, lower the left knee. Inhale, arms lift. Squeeze the glutes. Make yours stable here. Inhale. Exhale, hands land. Step both of your feet back. High plank. Hold here, squeeze the glutes, lower the knees. Then the belly goes in, shoulders are stable, and you lower towards the floor. The top of the arm bone stays lifted. And then pull the hands back for cobra, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Belly goes in, glutes are active, it's a back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe here. On the next inhale, step the left foot between your hands, lower the back knee. Inhale, arms up. Try to reach for some chocolate up in the shelf. So try to really grow up. Big inhale, belly's in. Exhale, forward fold at the front of your mat. Knees are bent. Inhale, reach up towards the sky, arms up. And then we pause here, hands towards your heart, Tadasana. Very nice. Breathe here. Try to find your triple S, your neutral spine. So maybe you have to adjust your head, or maybe you have to adjust your hips. You can always give feedback with your hands. And we'll repeat the sequence. We're going to add a runner stretch in between. So inhale, bring your arms forward and up. Exhale, bending from the hips, folding forward. Knees are already bent, yes. Step your right foot back, lower the right knee. And then from here, we'll move into the runner stretch. So hands stay on the floor, and then we're going to lift the back knee and lift the front toes as well. So it's a kind of runner stretch, but very active. So you can come, there we go. You can straighten or bend your front knee more or less, it depends. Try not to sink into passive, so really keep everything active. And then come directly into a high plank. So step both of your feet back, high plank. Belly's in, lower the knees. Lower strong, one piece towards the floor. Pull the hands back for cobra. Belly's in to protect the lower back. Exhale, downward facing dog. On the next inhale, step the right foot between your hands. And then lower the back knee. And then from here, you can go into the runner stretch again. So lifting and trying to strengthen the front knee. It may not get that way. You can keep both knees super bent. The front toes are lifted to really activate the front leg. And then step both of your feet together in a forward fold. Front of your mat, knees bent. Inhale, reach up towards the sky. We're going to repeat the same on the other side. Exhale, fold forward. From the hips, step the left foot back, lower the left knee, and you can directly go, if you want, into this runner stretch. Trying to straighten the front knee and lifting the front toes. The hips are here holding you, so the hips are going high, very nice. Lower down, hands fully land on the mat, step into a high plank. Belly's in, squeeze the glutes, lower the knees, and then lower strong into one piece towards the floor. So the shoulders arrive at the same time, you can go into cobra, shoulders arrive in the same time as your hips. And then push yourself back up into a downward facing dog. Belly's in. On the next inhale, step the left foot between your hands. Lower the back knee if you want, or directly adjust yourself for runner stretch here at the front. And then step both of your feet together for a forward fold. Exhale. Inhale, reach up towards the sky, and we're going to pause with your hands together at the heart. Tadasana. Breathe here. We'll start the sequence. Inhale, arms forward and up. Control your ribs here. Look for your neutral spine. Exhale, fold forward. We start the same way. Step the right foot back. Lower the back knee, the right knee, but not your toes. And come into a 90-90 lunge. Interlace your fingers and then pull them up towards the sky. So really reaching for that upper shelf. And here the right glute is active, and you try to control your ribs. So your shoulder blade should be able to move with your ribs popping out. Big inhale. And then runner stretch. Hands land. Straighten your front knee slightly. And then keep your hips high. Yes, very nice. Breathe here. From here, we'll move into a 3-leg downward facing dog. So hands will fully land. Left leg will move away from you towards the sky. Hold here. Big inhale. So everything is stable. Your arms are strong and you're feeling the floor. The energy of the floor coming through your arms, going into your shoulders. So we're not sinking in the shoulders. We're keeping them stable away from the floor. Ribs are helping here. Bend your left knee, keep the hips neutral, and just pulse. So do some pulses with your glute, with your left glute. Yes, everything is stable. So this is going to challenge your stability in your core. Arms are strong. Neck is relaxed. Very nice. Don't twist in your pelvis. And then from here, we'll move into a transition. I will show. We're going to step the left foot between the knees, between the hands, sorry. Turn to the right, turn the shin as well, and then we'll stay here with your right leg extended, looking towards the side of your mat. Yes, everybody got there, I think. Both of your hands are down on the floor. From here, the left hand will lift up, left arm lifts. Turning, you don't look at the hand, it's fine, it's there, you know. You're twisting from the thorax, from the rib cage. Big inhale. Exhale, thread the needle under the right shoulder. We're not staying down, we're lifting up again. Inhale. Exhale, thread. And then one more time. Make sure your glutes are active to support you here. Thread under. And then just as you are, both hands land on the floor. Bring both of your knees together and you cat-cow here. So you're still looking on the side of your mat and you cat-cow. So rounding your back, bringing the belly in when you're in cat. And in cow, you bring your neck back to neutral, as we learned last week, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Your belly is still pulling in, so it's slightly active. Very nice, and then come back to neutral. And we'll go into a straddle. So from here, your hands will stay, and we're just gonna lift both of your legs and spread them wide. Just facing the side of your mat, just as you are. You can place blocks under your hands, so into a straddle, so you will have to walk your feet nearer to your hands, or your hands nearer to your feet. Yeah, yeah. So it's like a forward fold, yeah. Exactly. Your knees can be slightly bent. Okay, Anne, you can walk your hands towards your feet a bit more. Yes, there you go, a bit more even. So your weight is on your feet. So you should be able to kind of lift your hands. You can place blocks, and you can also widen your stance with your legs. And then from here, we'll start side lunges, side to side, bending one knee at a time. And then the other. Your hands can stay on the floor, or you can place them on your hips. If you want some more activation, it's going to be a bit more challenging. Another option is to clean your floor, kind of doing this, like if you imagine you have sand on your hands, and you're moving side to side. So what we want here is to bend one knee at a time, but sit back in space. So we don't want the knees going forward. We want the butt going back. Okay, so that's a difference. If we're moving the knees forward from your toes, than if you're really sitting back behind in space. If we sit back, we work the glutes. Very nice, keep going here. And then we'll turn towards the back of your mat, so you might not see me or us anymore. Your left hand will stay. Right arm goes up for a twist. Your front knee is bent. The back heel is lifted. Right glute, left glute is active to keep your pelvis, yes, there you go, now you correct it, to keep your pelvis at the same level. Okay, so I repeat, left hand is down on the floor. You might have a block if you want. This is going to give you more space. And then the right foot is forward, right arm is up. Then place the right hand behind your head. Open, twisting from the thorax towards the right, opening, big inhale. And then exhale, bring the elbow in, down towards the floor, so the elbow points down. Inhale, you can keep doing that. Making sure that the back leg, the left leg, is active. 2 more times. If that's too hard, you can always bring your back knee down on the floor. And then last time, open and close. Both of your hands land, runner stretch. So the front foot will lift, front toes will lift, back knee will lift. Both knees are bent, so the back leg as well. Because from here, we're going to shift into an L shape. So from here, you're going to get some blocks. You're going to place the hands on the blocks. If you don't have blocks, you just need more flexibility. And then from here, you shift your weight. So we'll keep shifting between L shape and runner stretch. There we go. So you step, bend both of your knees, and shift your weight back. Shift forward, hands land. Left leg moves up. Bringing back, bringing the right toes towards you, both knees bend. Hands land forward, L shape. And we'll keep switching here. Keep your right knee always bent. Don't lock it. One more time. We're going to stay in L shape. L shape because we make an L with our legs. And then step both of your feet together even in a forward fold. Knees bend. Big inhale. Exhale here. Knees bend, your belly is touching your thighs. And then reach up towards the sky. Arms up, inhale. And exhale, Tadasana, hands to your heart. We're going to do the same sequence starting from the back of your mat. Inhale, arms up, forward and up. Exhale, bending at the hips, fold forward. Step your left foot back, lower the left knee, but not your toes. And then come up in a 90-90 lunge, interlace your hands, and then push the arms up towards the sky. Controlling the ribs, trying to find the neutral spine here. Big inhale, squeezing the left glute, and trying not to sink in here. And then lower the hands, come into a runner stretch. From here, both of your knees are bent. Fully land your hands, 3-leg downward facing dog. Right leg will move away from you, towards the back in space, towards the back. Into a 3-leg downward facing dog. Otherwise, you can always go into a standard downward facing dog, and then from there, lift the leg. Bend your right knee. And without moving anything else, start to pulse your right glute. There we go. Everything else is stable. Shoulders and hands are pressing against the ground. Neck is relaxed. Also, maybe your jaw you need to relax. And then we're going to move towards the side of your mat. So we're going to step the right knee towards the floor. Turn to the left. Turn the right shin as well to the left. And then both of your hands land. From here, right arm goes up towards the ceiling. So your right knee is on the floor. Left hand is on the floor. Right arm up. Inhale. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale. So you don't look at the hand, there's no need. You're turning from the ribs. Thread the needle. And then one more time. And then we'll come with both hands land on the floor. Both of your knees together, cat-cow. Just as you are putting the knees together and cat-cow here, observe if there has been any difference from the first one to this one. And then come back to neutral. Come into the straddle. So you just lift the knees away from the floor. You can separate your feet and then walk your hands back, or maybe just do a jump. That's also fun to do. So from a tabletop, you just jump and come into a straddle. Knees are slightly bent. You can place blocks under your hands. From here, we're going to start bending one knee at a time. So your knees are slightly bent, active here. And then watch out, where are your knees going? Are they going forward from your toes? If that's the case, try to sit back and then maybe don't bend so much. You'll get there. So sitting back in space. Maybe you want to place your hands on your hips and keep the chest open. You can go as slow or as fast as you want. You can also do this sandy feeling. Imagine you have sand under your hands. And then we'll turn towards the back of your mat for a twist. Back of the mat. Left hand lands. Did you do it this way? I think you have to do it the other way around. Right? So do the other side. In this case, the left foot should be on the floor. Right hand lands. Left hand behind your head. Squeeze the right glute, belly's in, and then open, turning from the rib cage. Inhale. Exhale. Elbow down towards the floor. Inhale. Exhale. Right glute is active. It is not that easy to do that, to keep yourself lifted from your own strength, not to sink in here. And then last time, both of your hands land and go into a runner stretch first. Both knees are bent and maybe your hands are on blocks or maybe they are just on your tiptoes. So once you're here and your left toes are lifted, you shift your weight first on your toes, then your hands are going to move forward and then your right leg can lift. Yes, and then from here going back, your right foot lands softly, your front toes lift, hands go back, there you go. And then same, you can keep switching, shifting the weight. So here what we're getting is the weight on the hands, and at the same time we're strengthening the hamstring here. Keep shifting between runner stretch and L shape one more time at your own pace. And then stay in L shape for one breath. Standing leg is bent, hold here. And then step both of your feet together, forward fold. Exhale. Inhale, reach up towards the sky with your hands. And then hands to your heart, Tadasana. Breathe here. Inhale, we'll go to the sequence 2. Inhale, arms go forward and up. Bending from the hips, fold forward. And then step directly into a downward facing dog. From here, the left leg will lift. So maybe you want to place your right toes more into the center. And then we'll step the left toes, the left foot between the hands and come into a high lunge. So standing up. Both of your knees are slightly bent. Hands on your pelvis. There we go. And then we really want the back glute to be active here. From here, we're going to step both of your feet together at the front of your mat. So imagine you're going back into Tadasana. And then step the left foot back. And then step it together, right foot back. So we'll keep alternating. You can go as fast or as slow as you can. What you need here is a neutral spine. So if you can really observe yourself, how is your spine while doing this? So you need your core active, head is right on top of the shoulders. So it might look easy, but there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of things you need. And the pelvis, you have to really see if you're tilting it forward or back, or if it's neutral. And now you can add your arms here as well. So you can really give yourself bringing the arms up and then down when you go back. Whoa. And then you can speed it up if you want. And remember to bend the back knee. Now when you come back standing into Tadasana, you can lift your heels if you want. For an added challenge, we're going to do 5 more. And then we'll step with the right leg behind and stay there in a high lunge with the hands on your pelvis. So stay here, high lunge, yes. From here, the right hand will come on your thigh, on your left thigh. Right hand on your thigh. Shift into an airplane. So you shift your weight forward and you lift the back leg. Shifting, shifting, shifting. Yes. So try your balance here. Look down towards the floor. Standing leg is bent and the right hand is helping you to square the hips. Big breath here. And then try to bring your hands down on the floor or grab blocks if you want. And then we'll go into a seated twist. So the right knee will bend behind the left one. And then you sit on the floor, turning towards the left. There you go. Yes. And then here, place your arms in cactus arms. If that's too much for you to sit, just sit cross-legged. Cactus arms, and then we're gonna twist here to one side and to the other. And remember, the twist comes from the rib cage, not from the lumbar spine, not from the arms. So this is how it will look if we twist from the arms, if we twist completely. The head, you can keep looking forward, or it can come with you. It depends if you get a bit dizzy or not. Belly's in, big breath in. And then we'll move into a downward facing dog. So loading the front foot and stepping into a downward facing dog. Bend your knees and bring the knees towards the left, the heels towards the right. And then switch the sides. So we're basically doing this shift in downward facing dog, bringing the heels to one side, the knees to the other. But always keep the engagement in your shoulders, so your shoulders are not sinking. You're really keeping your rib cage active. So it may be a smaller movement. And what we're really pulling here is the sides of the body, so you should feel it there. And then come back into a high plank. Lower the knees, lower down towards the floor. Extend your arms behind you and place the palms on the mat. Palms towards the floor. Press the palms against the floor and then lift your chest for locust pose. So this is a variation of locust pose. Belly's in, arms are against the floor, pressing against the floor. You can lift your toes if you want, pointing the toes, squeezing the glutes, and bringing the belly in. Watch out with your chin. I see everybody think it's doing it right. Yes, the ones I see, great. And then release and come into a downward facing dog. We're ready for the other side. Take a big breath in. Exhale. And then lift the right leg up, hip high, so we don't need it to send it towards the ceiling, or it's not a rocket, so we really want to control that. And then from here, step the right foot between the hands, come into a high lunge. The left knee is slightly bent. The hips are neutral, hands on your pelvis. So a hip would look neutral if it's like this. It will be tilted if it's tipping forward. So we really want to activate your left glute, and keep it neutral. So the ones I see look great. The front knee is bent. We're going to start this stepping forward. Come forward to the front of your mat, and then shift the weight. No stepping. So both of your Tadasana. And then alternating the legs, yes. And the leg that goes back, it has a buoyancy in there. So the back knee bends. And you're pushing from the back toes. Now you can add the arms if you want. You can also add lifting the heels when you are in Tadasana. If you're very, very energetic today, you can jump at the front of your mat. That's always welcome. So you can add some plyometrics, you jump and then you step it back, and you jump and you step it back. That's all options, or you can keep it slow and keep it a bit more chilly here. And then we'll end up with the left leg behind in a high lunge. Hands on the hips. Left hand will go on top of your right thigh to square the hips, and then we're going to shift the weight into an airplane. Lifting the back leg, bringing the belly in, looking down towards the floor. Watch out for your chin. Belly's engaged, standing leg is slightly bent. Breathe here, big inhale. Exhale, maybe your hands go down towards the floor. We're headed into a seated twist. So your back knee will bend behind the standing leg. And then we'll turn to the right. So sitting down, 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 turning towards the right this time. If that feels too uncomfortable, you can always extend the leg that is down. You can always extend it forward. Or you can always sit cross-legged. You can place a block under if you want. Cactus arms, and then turn to one side and to the other. And make it very conscious, so be aware of where you are turning. Your arms are strong. You can calm your breath here. So what we want is that both of your sit bones are fully on the ground. And then we'll load the front foot, place your hands down on the floor and step into a downward facing dog. Yeah, so these transitions sometimes are tricky. We need core integration and know where we are headed, and then we know where we want to end. Breathe here, bend your knees, send your knees towards one side, the heels to the other, and start to shift your pelvis side to side. Keeping, of course, the shoulders active. So Christina now is doing it pretty well. We don't want to really sink. So what does it look like if we sink? It will look like this, like really pushing towards the floor. We don't want that. It might feel great to your shoulders, but we really want to keep the shoulders active so you still feel the strength, the energy from the floor going into the scapula, into the shoulder blades. So it's basically shifting your pelvis side to side. The upper body stays lifted and active. 2 more, and then come into a high plank. In here, squeeze the glutes. Maybe you want to lower directly in one piece towards the floor or place the knees down. You decide. Locust pose variation, extending the arms behind you, placing the palms against the floor. Palms against the floor. Press the palms and then lift your legs, your upper chest, and your chin stays neutral, following your cervical spine. Breathing here. Activate your glutes, belly goes in, so you have a neutral spine here. The whole back part of your body is working. 1 more breath. And exhale. And we're gonna stay here. Make a pillow for your forehead. Bend your knees. And then maybe you wanna swing your knees side to side. So you bend your knees, and then you send them side to side and let the pelvis just shift. Very nice. And then you can release that. And then you can just roll towards your back. Maybe you want to bring your knees towards your chest. Give yourself a big hug. And take a big breath in here. And when you exhale, release all the weight of your body towards your mat. If you need any blanket or any socks, pull over. Get ready for Shavasana. And then once you're there, you can take deeper breaths. And maybe the same breaths that you took at the very beginning. Maybe they feel the same, or maybe they have changed. And then just let the body absorb what you have done, everything that has come up during this last hour. you can start to take deeper breaths. If you think you're ready, trying to bring some movement into your body. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you want. And if you think you're ready, you can come at your own pace into a comfortable seated position. Keep your eyes closed if that feels right for you. And maybe place one hand on your chest, the other hand on your belly. And feel how this front body, your chest, your belly, is supporting your spine, your neutral curves, your own and perfect anatomy. Your shoulders are relaxed, your jaw and your face are relaxed. And be aware that this freedom is always available to you. You can always do some little shifts into your day to find a more neutral spine, a better feeling in your own posture, which will also in the end affect your mind. You can gently open your eyes. I wish you a wonderful Sunday. Thank you very much for joining me. If you have any other questions or anything, I'll be here. And yeah, I wish you a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was so nice. Thank you too for the two models.
Thank you.
Bye bye, Christina.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Spaß gemacht.
Rocky.
Start of today. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Mireia.
Bye. See you.
Remember the name of your friend.
Christina.
Christina.
Oh, Christina, okay.
Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you. Ciao.
Ja. Was jetzt ab?